Okay, dokie. So I am wanting to do some teaching on toggles, and I want to preface this by saying I am no fucking Unity expert in any way, shape, or form, but I am someone who has been making avatars for at least a year now. So I wanted to share my way of going about this so that I can help teach people who don't know, because everyone should be able to make their own avatars if they please to. So we're gonna start with just a simple on and off toggle, and then we're gonna go into a Matswap and two different variations of a Matswap, an individual toggle Matswap, and then also a radial Matswap. I will probably also do a hue shift example, and I will probably also do a showing of like a Matswap between two different things, just so you have an idea of how those things work. So we're gonna first start by, you will always want to make sure that you have your avatar, whatever avatar it is, pre-made, non-pre-made, doesn't really matter which. You're gonna want to Control D on the avatar when you're clicked on it in the hierarchy, and then you're gonna want to turn off the original, and the second one is the only one you want to have a controller with your FX in it. This stops any possible breaking that can happen and prevents anything from basically going astray while trying to do things. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure and find your menu as well as your FX and your parameters. So I'm going to delete this real fast actually because I don't actually need that. But you're going to want to start by picking, whatever thing you want to toggle on and off, right? So for instance, I am going to do a good old-fashioned fucking clothing toggle. I'm gonna do a clothing toggle. So we're gonna toggle on and off the, let's say, the jeans. And you can name these toggles whatever is most convenient to you. I'm going to, for this example, make an on toggle and an off toggle. So, or an on animation and an off animation. So first of all, you want to start with whatever one you want, but we're going to start with the on. So in order to do this, you want to make sure that your jeans are off in your hierarchy, and we're only going to be clicking on this. Don't, hide the object at all. That is helpful if you're doing this on a pre-made avatar and need to see an asset, but you don't want to do this to do the animation because it will cause issues. So for the on animation, you're going to hit record. Your avatar is going to do this little thing and hide in the floor, but that is completely normal. Do not freak out. Everything's fine. So you're going to click on your jeans in this case, and then you're going to click here in the inspector. You're going to turn them on, and then you're going to stop recording. And then you're going to, turn off the preview so we don't accidentally break anything. Now we're going to make a jeans on and a jeans off animation. So this will be the off in the animation. So you're going to want to have your jeans on before you hit record. And you're going to hit record, and then you're going to hit off. And then you're going to stop recording, leave the preview. So that's that, basically. So that's taken care of. Then what we're going to do is, since we've made that toggle, what we're going to go and do is we're going to go to its animation and where it's at, and we're going to click on both of these while holding shift to select multiple, and then you're going to turn off loop time. I'm not exactly sure what this does, but I've seen less glitching, so I'm going to assume that it helps. So do it, don't do it, don't blame me if you don't do it and it doesn't work. I advised you turn it off, so, there's that. And then its animations are going to show up in your base layer or your play layer, whatever it ends up being called. It's going to be the first layer, and it's going to be like the main layer the avatar listens to. So you're going to want to delete all these so you don't have any issues. If there is an idle or a default animation sitting in here, don't delete that if you're working on a pre-made avatar. So you're going to want to create a new layer. We're going to call this jeans toggle or jeans T whatever you want to call it. You can name it absolutely anything you prefer, whatever is easiest for you to keep track. Then you're going to want to set its weight to 1. This will make sure it'll actually affect the avatar. Then you're going to want to go to your parameters, and you're going to want to add, in this case, a bool. And this will be jeans T. And if you want to, if you're someone like me who likes to keep things organized, you can do like clothes and then a slash, and it'll put it in its own little folder when you go to look for it. And you're going to want to leave that like that. And then we're going to want to find our parameters layer. And we're going to want to add a new little animation. To make this easier, you probably want to open the parameter in your animator and Control C and then Control V over here. You're going to want to make sure you have saved and synced toggled on, and that this is also set to a bool, so it'll actually do things and it'll talk to each other. If these are not named the exact same thing in the parameter menu here and the parameters here, they will not work. They won't recognize each other. So always make sure they say the exact same thing. That includes spaces, capitals, all of that. Once you've done that, you can then go back to your layers, and we can find our clothing animations. And for this animation, I'm going to start with the on and then the off. And before you do any connecting of them, you can scroll over them and turn right defaults off. There's a lot of really helpful detailed videos that talk about rights on and rights default off. Right defaults off tends to cause less issues, so I personally go with that, preferably, but you can do either. It is not necessary. This is, once again, my way of doing animations. There is no wrong or right way to go about it. Well, I guess there's a wrong way if it doesn't work, but, you know, you do you. So what we're going to do next is we're going to right-click and make a little transition down to jeans off. And then we're going to do the same thing back to jeans on. And inside settings, this is a lot of preference, but I personally will always go with 0 on the exit time, 0 on the transition duration, and then I'll turn off toggle exit time off. If you do it before, it'll still have a little exit time number thingy here, and this will look a little strange, but it's just what I've learned. So then you're going to go in here, and since I only have one animation, it's right there. Close jeans, right? And so we have them true. So this is it toggled, and then you're going to want to right click on this little transition spot, copy transition parameters, and then you're going to click on your second little triangle, and you can just go right click, paste both, and then you can swap this to false, and this will toggle your animation off. This is just a basic animation. You've basically created a basic animation right here. And then for the sake of this video, I'm just going to add I'm going to find my menu, and you can of course put this in its own little folder or like accent thing and set up menus and all of that. But for this video, I'm just going to add it to the main menu to show you, and then we're going to put jeans toggle here. You're going to set it to toggle, and then you're going to want to set this if it would recognize it. I may have not set it into the thing. I did not. That is my problem. You want to make sure your menu and parameters are actually in the VRC parameters and menu thing, or it will not recognize anything. So there's that. But see, it's right here. It'll be in close and then jeans, and now it should work. Oof, sorry. Here, and I can show you that it works with a simple little play. That's gonna take a hot minute. And then you see her doing the little dancey dance on the floor again. And then you're going to want to go to, if you have gesture manager, you're going to want to go here. And we've got our girly. And right here, we've got our jeans toggle. And you can toggle it on and off. So, yay. So that is that, right? I realize now that I probably should have added my blend shape, but you know, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can always go back and edit animations and add in the blend shapes necessary. I will actually probably do that right now, because I think... No, that's not the thing. Oh, I didn't even know that was an option. Okay. But I can show you how to add in the animation. So genes, you can click on your genes on animation, and it'll probably act funky, so you probably want to just click on the avatar. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the recording, and I have a little guy up here. Scary little guy. Have him. He's got a little animation. So the on, this would be set to 100. So it's all the way on. And then for the genes off, you would set him to 0. Right over here. And then he's got his little animation all set up. So now when you toggle the genes on and off, if he's on, he will actually properly grow with it, instead of doing weird things. So what we're going to do next is we're going to create a body animation, and we're going to make a nails swap. And this is going to be for the swap between these really spiky nails to some less spiky nails. So we can't have like a middle animation, or she'll have little holes in her fingers, and that's not very cool. It's not very poggers at all. That's really cringy for me to say, but it's not cool. So what we're gonna do is we're going to make an animation that toggles this on while the other one is toggled off, and toggle the other one on when this one is toggled off. So it's going to be a decently easy animation to do. I'm actually going to change the name of this real fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on her. We're going to make sure that animation is active and that we're doing this on our second model. And what we're going to do is actually turn the ones we're going to turn off on, the ones we're going to turn on off, so that it doesn't break anything. So we're going to click on our really pointy nails, and we're going to toggle those off. And in the same animation, we're going to grab our natural nails, and we're going to toggle those on. This makes it to where when you toggle these animations on and off, they will interact with each other very nicely. So that'll be nice. And then we're gonna do nail swap spiky on for the second half of our animation. And we're gonna make sure the natural nail is on and the non-natural nail is off before we start our animation. Then we're gonna start the animation. We're gonna toggle on the spiky nails, toggle off the natural nails. And so this will make it a really nice animation between the two of those without any extra steps. Then, once again, we're going to go into our animator, and we're going to make a bool, and we're going to do, like, body, edits, and then nail swap. And then you're going to want to Control-C to collect that. And then you're going to want to go to your parameters, and once again, add a new one, and name it the exact same thing as your parameter in the animator. And then you're going to make a new layer, and you're going to name it nails swap, or whatever you want to name it. Of course, that's up to you. And you're going to want to drag up and make sure the weight is set to 1. And then you're going to want to make sure that all of your little animations in here are loop time off. So you're going to want to start with whatever one you want to be on by default. So in this case, I want the spiky nails on by default, so I'll turn those into the animation spot first, and then I will drag in the second ones. And then I will turn these right defaults off, and I will make that same transition with the right click and then make transition. And then we're gonna remove these once again, no numbers. And then you're gonna grab your nail swap from true, and then you're gonna grab your nail swap again and set it to false. And that's all set up. And I can even show you how that looks, and you won't even have to worry about these being opposite right now, because it'll prioritize whichever one is at the top. And we're gonna add that to our menu. So we've got a nail swap. If I could actually do this properly, and then toggle, and then nail swap. And then we can test that once again. You always want to save as often as possible, and make sure you're never clicked on the animator when you go into play mode, because it will break your animator occasionally. And that's no fun, because then you have to restart the project, and then that's even more less fun. So, if we look at my gesture manager and we see the little nails, I wonder, can I... There, we can see her nails better now. But, got the little spiky nails, go to expressions, nail swap, and we get the little swap. And you can see over here in the hierarchy as well as they swap between the two. And they look very nice. Very, very nice. So that will look really nice. And we can actually see our toggle right here with the blend shape. And you can probably see it more back here. But you can see this chain moves along with our toggle. And it looks very nice and clean and all of that. So the kind of matte swap the kind of animation we're gonna do next is a hair matte swap, which these take a lot of time sometimes, but they're honestly really nice at the end of the day. So I'm gonna show you how to do one of those. I apologize, my cat's making weird noises in the background. So you see I have a lot of hair options here. So that is going to be its own little thing in a way. So you're gonna want to make sure that you have all of these toggled, just so you can go through them easily and drag in your hair mat. So for this avatar, I have 10 hair mats. So we're gonna do hair mat swap. And this will be a radial hair mat swap. So it'll be rather easy and it's not gonna be extra complicated. So when we do a hair or body or matte swap that's going to be on a radial, you want to click on the second keyframe. It's going to say 1 here, and you want it to be on the second keyframe before you drag anything anywhere. Then you're going to want to go to your hair, and you're going to want to grab whatever hair you want to be your second hair. In this case, I'm just going to follow along with my hair options here. You're going to want to grab them and drag it over here into 2. So you can see it changed the hair texture in hair matte right here. You can kind of tell the difference. Can't really tell too much because it is a darker hair color. Then you're going to go to curls and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to do this for every single hair. And, and if you fuck it up, you can Control Z. It is a-okay. It happens to the best of us. So you always want to make sure it's going in that second, whatever one is the one that you're moving around. In some cases, people don't name them, or they have them actually named names. It just depends on you. When you go to make your next keyframe, you're going to want to, once again, click 1 over, and now it'll say 2. And you'll just repeat this for as many times as you have to. And it will be time-consuming, but very worth it in the end. Gone through and you've done all of your animations, when you slide through this, it's going to look something like this to some degree. Of course, depending on what you're doing, it's not going to look exactly the same, but it should look just about like that. And now you can turn off whatever hairs you want. I'm gonna probably turn off these two, and then probably these two. So she look like this. And then I can even test it again to see all of it. Or if I grab the thing correctly, you can see all the different hairs. So now you're gonna once again go to your animations, where your animations are at. And you're gonna grab it and you're gonna turn off loop time, and then we're gonna go into our layers in our animator, and instead of making it a bool, this time we're gonna make it a float. And what we're gonna name it is whatever you'd like. We'll do hair personally, and then hair, or name hair Matswap, because I don't want to make it too complex for myself. And then you're going to want to put in your layers hair, and you're going to want to set the weight once again to 1, and you're going to want to grab this by double clicking Control C, and then you're going to want to pull up your parameter menu again, and you're going to put Control V, so it's the exact same, but you're going to set it to a float this time. And so now what we do in the layer is we go to, you're gonna grab your animation, and honestly these are the easiest animations to set up because you literally just drag them in, turn off right defaults, and then you're gonna want to go to motion time, and in this case, since this is the only radial I have, it'll use the very first one. But you'll basically just click on your radial to make sure it matches up, and you have it set up right there. And then for the menu, we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go to the menu, and I'll add the hair swap. And for this, we're gonna set it to radial puppet, and then we're gonna go to hair and Matswap. Do not put in the parameter one, put it in parameter rotation. If you put in the parameter one, it's not gonna do anything. But hair, the parameter rotation, it'll actually do something. So now we're gonna save again with Control S, and you're gonna go to play mode, and I will show you how it looks. And we're gonna go to gesture manager, and you're gonna get to see this Matswap. And you've got a nice little Matswap going on for you. And it goes all the way around. And it won't do the weird thing where it plays the same hair mat again at the end, because loop time is off. So yeah, and that's how the hair will look. So now we're gonna do one last animation and toggle setup. And we're going to use this. This is a situation where you would use it for if you only have like a couple of like mats that you want to swap between, and instead of making a radial, you want them to be toggles. So in this case, of course, there's multiple different ways to do this, but in this case, we're going to use this sparkly part of the hair. Actually, or we're going to use the nails. The nails is actually probably a better bet. We're going to use the nail mat swap for the natural nails. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 3 animations. So I'm going to go to my animations and then body, and we're going to do nat nails mat swap 1 is how I'm going to do these. So when you're doing a mat swap where it's going to be an individual toggle, what we're going to do for the nails at first is whatever is going to have this mat, you're going to find your material for your natural nails in this instance. You're going to put on like the second mat or a different material. So you're going to set that to the main material at the moment. And now you're going to drag what you want to be your default mat into the spot after you hit record. And you do not need to worry about moving frames at all. You're going to just grab your main material after hitting record, and you're going to drag it onto the nails if it lets you. If you have to, you can click on the nails themselves. If it will let me. Okay. You can always click it in the hierarchy. Sometimes it's weird. But you're going to take what you want your default texture to be, or material, and you're going to drag it into the material slot for it and set it to that. Same with, in this case, the body material. So we're gonna do that one. And that's our first frame. So now we want to make 2 other ones. So we're going to name it the exact same as the other one, except we're going to call it Matswap 2. So now we want to make sure that our nails are set back to the default before we start recording, so that nothing looks funky or acts funky. And then we're going to do what we just did again, kind of. And you're going to drag Nat Nails 2 into the Nat Nail 1 spot. And you're going to do that for both of the nails that you're working on, or both of the items you're working on. And then for the next one, we're going to do nail or Nat Nail Matswap, and then you can also, I'm using the arrows to select one. You can also use your mouse and you just click on it, and then it'll put it in place, and you can just name it before you click save or press enter. And then we'll do number 3. This one we don't have to worry about because neither of them are set to this. So you want to hit record, and then you drag the nail into the spot. And you do the same for your other item. In this case, nails. And then once you're done with that. And then you want to go into your animation, and we're going to do what we've done every single time. And we're going to make sure everything is set to no loop time. You might sometimes have to click it on and then turn it off. Now, I have been forgetting to do this, but you want to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer, and we're going to do nails Matswap. So, and then you're going to set it all the way to 1. And then you're going to add yourself a healthy little bool toggle in here. So this is going to be a little different because we're going to make 2 different toggles. And it's going to look strange, but you're going to want to have 2 of them. So we're going to do body edits like last time. And then nail Matswap 2. I'm going to do 2 and then we're going to Control C, and then we're going to add a new one in. We're going to add another bool, and we're going to do Control V, then we're going to put 3. And now you're going to want to go to your parameter menu, and we're going to add 2 new toggles. We're going to set them both to bools, and we're going to copy these over into those spots. So this is looking strange, and it's a little different, but this is good different. So now, this is where we're getting a little more complicated with our animations. So if you get lost, just go backwards a little bit in the video, and you'll get it. So we're going to grab Matswap 1. That's not Matswap 1. I apologize. This is. We're going to grab our first one. And then we're going to grab our second and our third one, and I'll put them in here. You're going to want to collect all of them, turn right default off. So we're going to start with this first one. We're going to make the transition to 2, and then make the transition back to 1. Mind you, there is a lot of different ways to go about this, but this is how I have done it and learned how to do this. So, then we're going to go into the first triangle. We're going to make sure everything is set to 0, and that exit time is off. We're then going to grab our toggle and body edits, and we're going to make sure that this matches up with this, our little animation. So 2. And we want it set to true. And then on our second little triangle, we're going to do the same thing we've done, paste both, and then hit false. This makes sure that it toggles properly. Then we're going to do just about the same thing to this one, but instead of Matswap 2, we're going to do Matswap 3. And we're going to make sure this is set to true. We're going to copy transitions and make sure this is set to false. Just like that. So now that we've got these animations here, we can actually set it to where we go into this behavior option, and we can go down to VRC avatar parameter driver. You're going to want to click on that. You're going to want to press add. So leave it at set, and then you're going to make the destination Matswap 3. And you're going to turn this off. Make sure it's off. So basically, if this gets turned on, this one will be turned off. And it makes it to where it doesn't do any weird glitchy shit, and it looks really nice, and it doesn't pause in between them. It's really nice, and it looks really flawless when you're doing toggles. So then for this one, we're going to do the opposite of the other one. Not that. That is not what I meant to click on. You're going to do the opposite of the other one, and instead of having it set to Matswap 3, we're going to have it set to Matswap 2, and we're going to make sure it's set to off. So it'll turn it off and then go into the next animation. And it'll look really nice. So now for the menu, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to our inner work stuff. We're just going to use this one. But you see how instead of a toggle, I put a new menu. And in order to add new menus, you can just go into VRCHAT, avatars, create, VRCHAT, avatars, and then expressions menu. We're going to make a new one, actually. So nails. And we're going to add 2 new toggles into here. We're going to do red nails was the first one. And we're going to make that a toggle. And we're going to set this to Matswap 2. And then we're going to do black nails. And that's going to be our Matswap 3. It looks really nice. So now we're going to add this into here by adding a control. And then we're going to add nails Matswap here. And then you're going to go to sub menu. And you're either going to drag that menu in here, or you can use this little circle thingy and you can look it up. Either one works. Both do the exact same thing. So now when we open our menu over here, we can do this. We should actually make sure the base layer is clean. Yes. And then you're going to make sure you're on your scene. You're going to press play. And then you're going to go to scene, and then you're going to go to tools, gesture manager, and since we've got the spiky nails as our default, we're going to set these to open so you can actually see it. But you're going to see the nail swap, and then you've got red nails, and you've got black nails. And you can do this, or should be able to. It acts funky sometimes. Sometimes. I may have done it wrong, but normally that is something you can do. It does not always work, at least in this instance it's not working. But you got your red nails toggle, and then your black nails toggle. You can toggle it back off to have the natural nail. So, yeah. That is all I have for animations today. Also, I wanted to preface, this is an avatar of mine I am personally working on, and will be released hopefully soon. If you are all interested about some of the stuff that I did talk about, like right defaults, do let me know. I can make a video and do some more research into it to explain some more. But for now, I will leave a link in the description for a video I know of that explains right defaults really well. And on top of that, I will also leave a link to my store for if you are interested in this avatar at all. It will have a lot of really nice features on it. She will not release for another week or so. And if you need any help at all, always feel free to join my server. I will link that as well in the description. And you are welcome to join the server and ask in the help channel for some help. I will also be making a spot for all my tutorials. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope this was at all helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments or you can ask in my server. But for now, this is all, and I can't wait to make another video with you guys, and I hope this was helpful. Bye.